Hi everyone, I'm Helen from Susan's family. Today, I'll show you a feather glow reversible vest. For this electronic tutorial, you can search for susud.com on the website to view it. The vest is divided into the front piece, the back piece, connection, collar, cuff lace and hem lace. First, crochet the front and back pieces separately. After completing them, connect the corresponding areas. Then pick up stitches along the neckline to crochet the collar. Next, pick up stitches along the hem and cuffs to crochet the lace. This vest comes in two sizes, small and large. The making method is the same, only the stitch count and row numbers for some sections are slightly different. Start by making the front piece. It is divided into three areas: the body, the chest piece, and the shoulder parts. Start by crocheting the body. After completing it, crochet from one side of the body, and work upwards to crochet the chest piece, and the shoulder parts. Here, the body starts with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise, working outward. You will need to alternate between two colors. The stitches used include chains, single crochets, double crochets, and slip stitches. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. The fabric here uses variegated yarn. Since the starting color segment of this yarn can vary, the effect of the crocheted piece will also differ slightly. You can refer to the finished product, or choose your preferred starting color segment based on your preference. For convenience in watching, I'll demonstrate using cotton yarn. The colors are random, for specific yarn color schemes and hook sizes. Please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. First, pick up the yarn. Here, I'll refer to the starting color yarn as color 1. The other one will be color 2. Pick up color 1. Start with an adjustable magic ring. Then make 3 beginning chains. Next, insert your hook into the ring and crochet 2 double crochets. After that, crochet 2 chains for transition. Continue by picking up the magic ring and crocheting 3 double crochets. Then 2 chains. Repeat the pattern of 3 double crochets and 2 chains twice. After that, close the magic ring. Move the crocheted part forward a bit. You can see there are 2 loops here. Gently pull the beginning tail of the yarn first. Then tighten the adjustable loop. There's one loop left. Pull tight the starting tail. The loop is now closed. Finally, at the top, chain from the beginning chains. That is, the chain next to the double crochet stitch. Pick up 2 strands and insert the hook. Work 1 slip stitch to join. This slip stitch for joining doesn't count as 1 stitch. Tighten it slightly. We will need this color again after skipping 1 round. So let's manage the yarn here. Enlarge the loop on your hook. Then bring the yarn strand out from inside. Slightly tighten the yarn. This way, the yarn is settled. Weave in the starting tail on the wrong side of the fabric. You can weave in more stitches if you want. Now the first round is complete. Move on to crochet round 2. Pick up color 2. On the left side of the previous round's beginning chain. Pick up the gap between the stitches to join the yarn. Make a slip knot with the yarn. Pull through. Adjust slightly. Then make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. Place the joining yarn tail above the hook. Set color 1 aside for now. Crochet 2 chains for transition next. Then pick the gap between 2 adjacent double crochets. Work 1 single crochet. Later, crochet 3 chains as a bridge. Pick the gap between 3 adjacent double crochets below. Work 1 single crochet in each space. Crochet 2 chains between the single crochets as a transition. After completing, continue with 3 chains as an interval. From now on, pick the gaps between 3 double crochets. Crochet 2 single crochets. Work 2 chains between the single crochets as a transition. After finishing this group, crochet 3 chains as an interval. Continue crocheting following this method. Finish by crocheting the last 3 chains. Pick up the first single crochet, and work 1 slip stitch to join. Make sure to tighten the slip stitch as well. In the next round, you will need this yarn again. Tidy it up a bit. Weave in the remaining yarn ends by weaving them on the wrong side of the fabric. This completes the second round. Now move on to the third round. Use color 1 for crocheting. Hook into the chain space from the first round here. The starting position is at the eyelet on the right side of the yarn tail. Insert the hook. Yarn over and pull through. Then chain 3 to begin. As you crochet here, also wrap in the chain from the previous round. Continue by picking up the same spot below and working 2 double crochets. Again, wrap the chain from the previous round. After completing that, crochet 2 chains for the interval. Pick the next corner chain space from the first round below. Work 3 double crochets. For convenience in explaining, I consider 3 double crochets as 1 leaf. Here, also wrap in the chain from the previous round. Pay attention that color 2 stays in its original position. After completing this, you've crocheted 1 leaf. Continue with 2 chains for the interval. Then pick up the same space and crochet 1 leaf. Follow with 2 chains for the next interval. From now on, pick the chain spaces from the first round to crochet. Crochet 2 leaves into 1 space. There are 2 chains between leaves. When crocheting, wrap in all the chains from the previous round. Continue crocheting downward. Finally, pick the starting space, and crochet another leaf. Two chains. Completing this space. Then at the position of the third chain from the beginning chain. Pick both threads to insert the hook and slip stitch join. Gently pull to tighten. Tidy up the yarn. At this point, the third round is complete. For the fourth round, proceed in the same way as the second round. Hook into the gap between stitches on the left side of the beginning chain from the previous round. Pull color 2 through. Then make 1 beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. As you crochet, weave in the carrying yarn from behind. Continue with 2 chains for transition. Next, pick the gap between adjacent stitches. Make 1 single crochet. Also weave in the line of the marked traces. I consider the 2 single crochets and the chain above the leaf as 1 single crochet pattern. Then crochet 3 chains as a bridge. Pick the gap between the next leaf stitches. Work the single crochet pattern. After completing it, crochet 3 chains as a space. Continue with this method and work the single crochet patterns above each leaf. Separate each pattern by 3 chains. Continue crocheting downward. Crochet the last 3 chains. Pick up the first single crochet stitch below and join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. Secure the yarn. At this point, the 4th round is completed. Next, crochet the 5th round. Use the same method as the 3rd round. Use color 1. Pick the corresponding chain space below in the same color round, and crochet the leaf. At the same time, wrap the chain from the previous round inside. The starting position is at the corner chain space on the right side of the yarn tail. Pull the yarn through. Chain 3 to begin. Crochet 2 double crochets correspondingly. Then make 2 chains for the interval. Pick the adjacent chain space in the same color round below. Crochet 1 leaf. Make 2 chains for the interval. Pick the corner space below. Crochet 2 leaves. Make a 2 chain interval between the leaves. When you encounter a corner chain space later, crochet 2 leaves. For the chain spaces between corner chain spaces, crochet 1 leaf. Here, all intervals between leaves are 2 chains. Continue crocheting in this way. Finally, crochet 1 leaf in the starting space. 2 chains. Slip stitch at the position where the beginning chain was picked up. Pull tight. Secure the yarn tail. At this point, round 5 is completed. Continue with round 6. The method is the same as for round 4. The starting position is in the gap on the left side of the previous round's beginning chain. Draw out color 2. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Then work the single crochet pattern. While crocheting, pay attention to weaving the carrying yarn marks. After completing, crochet 3 chains as a bridge. Moving forward, work the single crochet pattern on each leaf. Separate the patterns with 3 chains. Finally, slip stitch in the starting single crochet. Pull tight. Secure the yarn tail. At this point, round 6 is completed. For the remaining rounds, just follow the method used in the first 2 rounds for crocheting. Use color 1 when crocheting leaves. Hook into the corresponding chain spaces of the previous same color round. Work 2 leaves in the corner spaces. Work 1 leaf in the spaces between corners. Separate each leaf by 2 chains. When crocheting the single crochet pattern, insert the hook above the leaves. Use color 2 for crocheting. Separate the patterns with 3 chains. Continue with this method to finish crocheting the remaining part. Don't cut the yarn after completion. That concludes the explanation of the body section. Next, I will explain the chest piece. The method is similar to that of the body. However, the chest piece is worked back and forth on one side. You will also alternate between 2 yarn options. A new stitch method used here is half double crochet. Please watch as I demonstrate. Here, the last round of the body involves crocheting leaves. Following the pattern, you'll need to crochet a single crochet pattern. Pick up color 2. Hook into the space at the right corner of the starting leaf. Draw the yarn through. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Correspondingly, make 1 single crochet. Continue by picking up the next leaf. Crochet the single crochet pattern. Separate each motif with 3 chains. Keep crocheting until you reach the chain space before the next corner. That is, the space for crocheting 2 leaves. Once you've reached the corresponding position, continue by picking up the space and making one single crochet. Leave the rest unworked. At this point, the first row of the front piece is complete. You'll also need to secure the yarn tail. Now move on to the second row. Use color 1 to crochet the leaves. The yarn tail is currently located on the starting side of the previous row. So for this row, we'll crochet from right to left. Locate the position of the first single crochet from the previous row. Pick up the stitch and insert your hook. Draw out color 1. Then make 2 chains as a beginning chain. Follow with 2 chains for an interval. Next, pick the chain space below in the same color yarn. Crochet 1 leaf into each space. Separate the leaves by 2 chains. After completing the last leaf, continue with 2 more chains. Then pick the position of a single crochet on the edge. Work 1/2 double crochet. Now the second row is completed. Secure the yarn tail. Next, let's work on the third row. Use color 1 for crocheting. Keep the working yarn on the right hand side while crocheting. This means you need to turn the fabric here. Then pick up 1 stitch from the edge of the previous row. That is, pick the stitch of this half double crochet. When crocheting on the wrong side, the stitch is located at the top left. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. Crochet 3 chains as an interval below. Then pick up above the leaf and work a single crochet pattern. Separate each motif with 3 chains. After completing the last leaf, continue crocheting 3 chains downward as an interval. Then pick up the beginning chain from the previous row. Here, the beginning chain is 2 chains. Pick up the position of the second chain. Work 1 single crochet by picking up both loops. Tidy up the yarn. At this point, the third row is complete. Continue with the fourth row. Crochet using color 2. Place the yarn tail on the right side. Then work in the position of the first edge stitch from the previous row. Hook into this single crochet stitch. Draw the yarn through. Make 2 chains as the beginning chain. Then pick the chain spaces between the same colored leaves below. And also the chain spaces at the beginning and ending. Crochet corresponding leaves. Work 2 chains between each leaf. Finish crocheting the last leaf in the final chain space. Pick up the edge single crochet position below. Work 1/2 double crochet. Tidy up the yarn. Row 4 is completed. The remaining rows are worked in the same way as the first 4 rows, repeating the sequence. Please complete it. Do not cut the yarn after finishing. That concludes the explanation for the front piece. Next, we will crochet the shoulder parts, since the row numbers for the chest piece differ between sizes. The position of the yarn tail at the end will also vary slightly. Additionally, the starting stitches will be slightly different. However, the stitches used are all the same. Here, we use a new stitch method called DC2 tog. Please watch as I demonstrate. Here, I'll demonstrate using the smaller size as an example. For the larger size, you can learn the stitch first, and then refer to the corresponding chart for crocheting. Here, I'm demonstrating with a sample. For the first row of the shoulder parts in the small size, you need to crochet a leaf. Use color 1 for crocheting. Additionally, the shoulder parts need to be crocheted separately for the left and right sides. Place color 1 on the right side. Start by crocheting one side of the shoulder parts. Begin by picking up the first stitch at the edge position. Pull color 1 through. Then, follow the chart and crochet until you reach the position before the DC2 tog. Once you've reached the corresponding position, pick into the same chain space below and the space on the left side. Crochet a DC2 tog. After completing it, tidy up the yarn. Leave the remaining stitches unworked for now. That's the end of the explanation for the first row of this side of the shoulder parts. For the second row, you need to join the yarn at the end of the previous row. Pick up color 2. Face the wrong side of the previous row toward yourself. Join the yarn by picking up the first stitch at the edge. Then, make 2 chains as a beginning chain. From here, follow the chart and continue crocheting. Crochet until you finish the last leaf position. Continue by picking up the top chain of the beginning chain. Make 1 single crochet. That concludes the explanation of the second row method. Tidy up the yarn. For the following rows, alternate crocheting with color 1 and color 2 on this side. The stitch methods and methods used afterward have all been demonstrated before. You can directly refer to the chart to complete it. After completing the crocheting, you need to fasten off the yarn at the end of the last row. First, secure with one chain. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Pull tight. Leave a long tail for the other yarn end, and cut it off. Weave in the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. Here, the neatly textured of the round one of the body is the right side of the fabric. At the same time, weave in the yarn tail in the same color area. Complete it. That concludes the explanation of one shoulder part. Next, we'll explain the other shoulder part. Take the first row of the previously completed shoulder part, with the right side facing you. That is, the side with the neat stitch texture. Then refer to the chart and find the corresponding chain spaces. Hook into the spaces between the leaves below. Pick up color 1 and join the yarn. Then make 3 beginning chains. Continue crocheting according to the chart. After completing, tidy up the yarn. That concludes the explanation of the first row. Continue with the second row. You will need to crochet using color 2. There is a strand of color 2 below here. Place it on the right side. Then pick up the stitch and insert the hook. Pull the yarn through and start crocheting directly. There are no new stitches or methods used afterward. Just refer to the chart for reference. Crochet the shoulder part on this side until completion. After finishing, fasten off the yarn separately. For the shoulder parts in the larger size, the yarn for the first 2 rows begins on the same side. Simply follow the previous method. Pull the yarn through and start crocheting directly. When crocheting the other side of the shoulder part, you need to join both colors of yarn again. Pay attention when joining the yarn. The texture should match the previous shoulder part. Then alternate and crochet all the way down. After completing, fasten off and weave in ends. At this point, the explanation for the shoulder part area is complete. Up to this point, the crocheting of the front piece has been explained. Next, we will discuss the back piece. It is also divided into 3 areas: the body, the chest piece, and the shoulder parts. Start with the foundation chain, then crochet back and forth along the foundation chain. You will also need to alternate between 2 colors. Please watch as I demonstrate. First, pick up the corresponding color, then begin with a chain. Crochet the corresponding number of chains downward. Refer to the chart for the exact stitch count. The stitch count for my sample is random. After completing, start crocheting the first row of the body. Begin with 3 chains as the turning chain. Then, at the position of the 6th chain from right to left, pick up the top strand of the chain braid. Crochet a leaf. Then crochet 2 chains. Skip the next 4 chains afterward. Pick up the top strand of the next chain braid. Crochet 1 leaf. Chain 2 as the interval. Skip 4 stitches. Crochet 1 leaf. From now on, skip 4 stitches and crochet a leaf repeatedly. Leave a 2 chain interval between leaves. Continue crocheting downward. Finish crocheting this leaf. There are 2 chains remaining afterward. Skip 1 stitch. Work 1 double crochet into the edge chain. Weave in the yarn tail. At this point, the first row is complete. Next, start the second row. Join color 2 at the beginning chain of the previous row. That is, the 3 chain position on the right side of the first leaf. Insert the hook under 2 strands of the third chain. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Correspondingly, work 1 single crochet. Work single crochets down the leaf pattern. Separate each pattern by 3 chains. After completing the last pattern, work 1 single crochet into the edge double crochet position. Weave in the yarn ends. This completes the second row. For the remaining rows, follow the method used for the front chest piece. Alternate between 2 colors. Crochet back and forth. When joining yarn or crocheting at a beginning chain position, always pick the top of the topmost beginning chain. For subsequent beginning chains, use 2 chains. Then insert the hook under both loops of the second chain. No new stitches or methods are introduced moving forward. Simply refer to the chart to complete the body section. After finishing, continue with the chest piece. This part needs to be crocheted in 3 sections. First, continue with the previous yarn to crochet one edge. Once done, fasten off the yarn. Rejoin the yarn afterward. Crochet the second edge on the other side. Similarly, finish and fasten off the yarn. Finally, rejoin the yarn to crochet the middle section. Do not fasten off after completing this part. Continue directly to crochet the shoulder parts. Similarly, use the previous yarn to start one side first, then rejoin the yarn to crochet the other side. The methods and stitches have been demonstrated before. Simply refer to the chart for guidance. Finish crocheting the remaining parts as indicated. That concludes the explanation of crocheting the back piece. Next, we will connect the front and back pieces. Start by connecting the shoulders. Here, use slip stitches and chains for the connection. Use the color from the last row of the shoulder part. Pick up the corresponding stitches and chain spaces from the last row on both sides. Roughly match them on the wrong side of the fabric for the connection. Below, I will demonstrate one way to connect these parts. You can use it as a reference. You can start learning this method now, then proceed according to the actual situation. Please watch the demonstration. Below, I will demonstrate the connecting method using a sample. Match the areas that need to be connected. Ensure the right side of both pieces face outward. On the front side, join the yarn above the first stitch on the right edge. If it is a regular stitch, simply hook into the stitch. If it is a beginning chain, then pick up the 2 strands above the beginning chain, and join the yarn. Then crochet a chain for transition. The number of chains here can also be adjusted according to your preference. The more chains you make, the wider the joining area will be. For this sample, crochet 1 chain. Then slip stitch into the first stitch, on the edge of the piece at the back. Do not tighten. You can also adjust the joining stitch method according to your preference. For example, you could use single crochets instead. In this sample, we're using slip stitches throughout. Continue with a chain. Go back to the front piece. Pick an appropriate position. That is, after finishing the chain. Roughly where it can reach. The more chains you make, the more you can slightly increase the joining interval. In this sample, join with an interval of 1 stitch. If the joining positions are not in the same row, just choose an approximate suitable position. As long as you ensure that after joining, the pieces connect evenly and lie flat. Continue with a chain. Join at the corresponding position on the other side. Follow this method to select appropriate positions for joining on both the front and back pieces. Make sure the edges of the fabrics also match up when joining. After completing the join with the last 2 stitches on the edge, fasten off and weave in the ends. Similarly, weave in the starting yarn tail on the wrong side. Everyone can now complete it. That concludes the explanation of joining stitch positions. After connecting the shoulders, continue downward to join the body section. This is the connecting area for the back piece. Start from the end position of the chest edge, all the way to the beginning chain. For the front piece, pick up an approximately corresponding position. There will be an extra part on the front piece. That doesn't need to be connected. Here, we'll connect using a method of crocheting reverse single crochets to avoid puckering. Let me demonstrate this joining method below. Here, I'm demonstrating with a sample, aligning the edges of the pieces. Match the edge of the front piece with the foundation chains of the back piece. Both right sides of the pieces should face outward. The right side of the leaf on the front piece is the right side of the entire piece. The neat side of the stitch pattern on the first row of the back piece is the right side of the entire piece. This is considered the right side of the entire piece. The wrong sides of both pieces should face each other. Here, the front piece faces toward you. Then, find the corner space on the left end, and hook into it. On the back piece, pick up the edge chain position. Here, pick the 3rd chain from right to left. Pick up 2 strands of yarn for joining. Then, make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Moving downward, pick roughly corresponding stitches, or chain spaces on the front piece. Insert the hook from front to back. On the back piece, pick up 1 stitch from the edge of each row. You can pick up the entire stitch, or you can insert the hook under 2 strands of yarn on the edge. Work 1 slip stitch. Then pick up the top strand of the beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet. This completes a modified reverse single crochet stitch. Continue picking up roughly corresponding positions on both the front and back pieces. Work 1 slip stitch. Then pick up the 2 strands that are angled on the upper left. Work 1 single crochet. This completes another modified reverse single crochet stitch. Continue with this method, crochet and join along the side simultaneously. The insertion position is not fixed. As long as the pieces lay flat after joining, it's fine. Continue connecting downward. After finishing the edge, continue picking up stitches from the front piece below. Work 1 slip stitch to secure. Then cut the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail in the wrong side of the fabric. At this point, one side of the front and back pieces is connected. Connect the other side using the same method. For a neater appearance, keep the front piece facing you while connecting. Start from the corresponding position on the top edge. And connect downward to the edge. The number of leaves for the entry positions on both sides of the front piece should be identical. The connection points must be symmetrical. Later, follow the previous joining method to complete the connection on this side. Now, the body connection has been fully explained. At the same time, all connecting areas of the front and back pieces have also been covered. Next, we will explain the collar. Crochet in rounds along the neckline area. The new stitches used include DC2 puff stitch, back post double crochet, and front post treble crochet. Please watch me demonstrate. Start with the first round. Here, between the two leaves that are relatively centered on the back piece neckline. Pick up the chain space and insert the hook. Pay attention to wrapping the chains from the row above as well. Then join the yarn and make a beginning chain. Below, in the middle space between the front and back pieces. Continue picking up chain spaces between the leaves. Hook into these chain spaces and work single crochets. Between each single crochet, chain 3 as a space. When you reach the side edge of each row, pick up either the edge stitch or the space from the corresponding row. Insert the hook and work a single crochet. Between each single crochet, chain 3 as a space. The insertion points for these stitches are all marked on the chart. Refer to the chart to complete the first round. After finishing, slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch. Make sure to pull it tight. There's no need to weave in the yarn tail after completing this round. Once done, proceed to crochet the second round. Here, I'll demonstrate the method using this sample. Start with one chain as the beginning chain. Flip the fabric downward. Crochet on the wrong side of the previous round. Pick up the chain space on the left and work 3 single crochets. Then continue picking up chain spaces and crocheting. Work 3 single crochets into each space. Finish crocheting all the way around this round. After completing the last space, slip stitch into the starting single crochet. Pull tight. The second round is complete. Continue with the third round. Start with one chain as the beginning chain. Turn over the fabric. Crochet this round on the right side. Work single crochets into each stitch all the way down. Finish with the last stitch. Slip stitch into the starting single crochet. Tighten. The starting position changes for the next round. The third round is now complete. Move on to the fourth round. There's no need to turn the fabric here. Start from the second stitch on the left side. Pick up the second stitch. Draw the yarn through. Make 3 beginning chains. Crochet 2 double crochets in the same position. Continue with 1 chain as an interval. Skip 3 stitches below. Pick up the position of 1 stitch, crochet 1 leaf. One chain as an interval. Skip 3 stitches below and crochet leaves respectively, with 1 chain as an interval between them. Finish with the last leaf and 1 chain. Pick up the top of the beginning chain, and slip stitch to join. Pull tight. The 4th round is now complete. Crochet the 5th round downward. Start with 1 chain. Turn over. Pick up the adjacent chain space, and crochet 1 single crochet. Then crochet 5 chains as a transition. Pick up the chain spaces below respectively. Crochet according to the pattern of 1 single crochet and 5 chains. Repeat this pattern 2 times. First time. Second time. After completing, continue by picking up the next chain space, and crocheting 1 single crochet, then pick up the adjacent space and crochet 8 double crochets. Moving forward, everyone should refer to the chart for crocheting. Finally, join with a slip stitch at the starting single crochet. Pull tight. The 5th round is completed. Secure the yarn tail. For the 6th to 9th rows below, divide into 2 sides. Crochet each side separately. First, turn the fabric over. Hook into the chain space on the left. Draw the yarn through. Start crocheting rows 6-9 on this side. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Correspondingly crochet 1 single crochet. Crochet 5 chains as a bridge. Continue by picking up the adjacent space, and crocheting 1 single crochet. 5 chains as an interval. Crochet 1 single crochet in the next space. Move down to the position for the double crochet, in the gap between 2 adjacent stitches. Crochet a DC2 puff. We'll call this the puff stitch from now on. First, work 2 unclosed double crochets. Then yarn over, and pull through all the loops on the hook. This completes the puff stitch. Continue with 1 chain as an interval. Then pick up the space between the next 2 stitches. Crochet a puff stitch. Followed by 1 chain as an interval. Continue referring to the chart for the rest of the row. Keep crocheting all the way to the end of this row. It should be around the center of the front piece. After completing the corresponding section, leave the remaining stitches unworked. This concludes row 6. Secure the yarn tail. Continue with row 7. Turn over. Hook into the edge chain space from the previous row. Draw the yarn through. Make one beginning chain to start. Correspondingly work one single crochet. Crochet 5 chains as an interval next. Then pick up the adjacent chain space. Work one single crochet. On the chart, there is a back post double crochet symbol here. Since this row is crocheted on the wrong side of the fabric, the chart reflects the situation on the right side of the fabric. Therefore, here on the wrong side, we need to work the opposite stitch. That means working a front post double crochet, yarn over, hook into from right to left into the position adjacent to the puff stitch on the left side. Pick up the puff stitch and bring it forward. Then yarn over and draw the yarn through. Continue crocheting according to the method for double crochet. At this point, the front post double crochet is completed. You can now turn to the right side to take a look. Here is the back post stitch texture. Continue downward in the same position. Crochet a front post double crochet. Then work one chain for spacing. Adjacent, continue to pick the puff stitch position. Crochet 2 front post double crochets. Then work one chain as an interval. For the following puff stitch positions, crochet 2 front post double crochets. Leave one chain between every 2 stitches for spacing. When you encounter a chain space of 5 chains, correspondingly work a single crochet between each 2 single crochets. Leave 5 chains as an interval. Continue crocheting downward. Finish the chain spaces at the edge of the previous row. At this point, row 7 is completed. Adjust the yarn. Crochet row 8 downward. Turn over. Hook into the chain space at the edge of the previous row. Draw the yarn through. Chain 1 is the beginning chain. Correspondingly make one single crochet. Pick up the position for the back post double crochet. Work a front post treble crochet. Yarn over twice. Insert from right to left into the adjacent back post double crochet position. Pull it forward. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. Then yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. Repeat 3 times. Once. Twice. 3 times. Complete the front post treble crochet. Move on to chain 1 for the interval. Pick up the adjacent back post double crochet position below. Work a front post treble crochet. From now on, all stitches will be front post treble crochets worked in the back post positions. Separate each front post treble crochet by one chain. When you encounter a chain space of 5 chains, correspondingly make single crochets. Continue crocheting following this method. Finish 1 chain space on the edge. At this point, row 8 is completed. Secure the yarn tails. Next, crochet row 9. There's no need to turn the fabric over. At the insertion point of the single crochet, at the end of row 6. Pick up the chain space and insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. Keep the yarn a little loose. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Turn over. Pick the adjacent chain space below and crochet 5 double crochets. While crocheting, weave in the carrying yarn traces inside. Continue downward, pick the adjacent chain space, and make 1 single crochet. Then pick the chain spaces between front post double crochets, alternate crocheting 5 double crochets and 1 single crochet. Finish the area of the row above. Hook into the adjacent chain space below. Follow the pattern and crochet 1 single crochet correspondingly. Pick the next chain space and crochet 5 double crochets. Continue to pick the next chain space and work 1 slip stitch. The slip stitch here doesn't need to be tightened. The chart uses oval dots to indicate loose slip stitches that are not tightened. Cut the yarn at the end. By now, rows 6-9 on this side are completed. Next, crochet rows 6-9 on the other side. Use the same method as before. Place the right side of row 6, facing you. Then locate the edge chain space. Join the yarn there. Make 1 beginning chain. Correspondingly crochet 1 single crochet. Continue working back and forth. After completing, fasten off the yarn. The method has been demonstrated before. Refer to the chart to finish it. Once done, crochet the 10th round. Here you need to crochet in rounds. Place the wrong side of row 9, facing you. Then find the center position of the back piece, at the first single crochet of row 9 on the left side. Pick up the stitch and join the yarn. Then make 2 chains as a transition. Pick up the second double crochet from the 5 double crochets below. And work 1 slip stitch. When there are no special instructions, the slip stitch does not need to be tightened. Then crochet 3 chains. In the same position, work 1 slip stitch. I consider these 2 slip stitches and 3 chains as one motif. Crochet 2 chains as an interval next. Skip 1 double crochet stitch. Pick up the adjacent double crochet stitch, and crochet 1 motif. After completing it, continue with 2 chains as an interval. Pick up the single crochet position and work 1 slip stitch. For all single crochets that come after, you will be crocheting slip stitches at the position of 5 double crochets. Pick up the 2nd and 4th stitch positions respectively and crochet the motifs. Leave 2 chains as an interval between motifs. Leave 2 chains as an interval between the motif and the slip stitch. Continue crocheting following this method. Crochet until the ending position of the 9th row on this side. Pick up the chain spaces between the leaves below. Work 1 single crochet. This can wrap everything from above inside. Continue crocheting downward following the previous method. Crochet until the end of the 9th row. Similarly, pick up the chain spaces between the leaves below. Crochet 1 single crochet stitch. Continue crocheting according to the pattern. For the last slip stitch, crochet into the starting insertion point. Then break the yarn. Weave in all the yarn tails on the wrong side of the fabric. At this point, the 10th round is completed. Meanwhile, the explanation for crocheting the collar is finished. Next, we will explain the hem lace. Crochet around the edges of the front and back pieces. A new stitch method used here is CH3 picket. Please watch as I demonstrate. For this, I'll use this sample to show you. Start at the position where the front and back pieces connect. Pick up the 2 strands on the edge and join the yarn. Then make 1 beginning chain. Move down and pick the chain spaces between adjacent leaves. Crochet 2 double crochets. Next, crochet a CH3 picket. From now on, I'll simply call it picket. First, crochet 3 chains. Then pick the double crochet stitch below. Take the strand closer to you, and the strand on the left. Work 1 slip stitch. This completes the picket stitch. Continue by picking up the same space, and crocheting 2 double crochets. 1 picket. 2 double crochets. 1 picket. 2 double crochets. I consider the stitches worked into one space as a group of petals. Pick up the chain space between adjacent leaves below. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Then pick the chain space between the next set of leaves. Work a group of petals. Repeat the pattern of 2 double crochets and 1 picot 3 times. One time. Two times. Three times, then work 2 double crochets. Finish the petal. Work 1 slip stitch in the next chain space. From now on, pick the chain spaces between the leaves, alternate crocheting petals and slip stitches when you reach the connection point of the front and back pieces. Pick up the 2 strands of yarn at the edge of the connection. Crochet the corresponding stitches. After completing, in the same position as the starting point, or the adjacent space, work 1 slip stitch, then break the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail on the wrong side. Everyone can now finish it. That concludes the explanation of the hem lace. Finally, let's talk about the cuff lace. The method is the same as for the hem lace. Crochet a round of petals and slip stitches. Here, only at the center bottom position. Hook into the chain space between the leaves to work the stitches. For the rest, when you encounter the edges of each row, pick up 1 stitch or a chain space from the edge of the corresponding row. On the front piece, simply hook into the chain space. Then crochet accordingly. The method has been demonstrated before. The insertion points are also marked on the chart. Moving forward, everyone can refer to the chart. Complete the cuff lace following the instructions. That concludes the explanation of the cuff lace. Up to this point, that concludes the entire explanation of how to make the vest. If you have any unclear parts during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.